Shalom, Israel. Call Halayim La, Yahweh Shem Shah Bashim Kakadash. I want to give double honor to the apostles of Jesus who rule well and teach well, and shalom to all you brothers and sisters that's out there doing this work in all honesty and sincerity. I'm scrolling through the news and I seen this article, man. This just proves more, you know, biblical facts that Esau and Jacob are brothers, man. All right. They're still going on today. All right, well, of course, they're brothers, all right, but those individuals are still going on today. All right, this happened 100 years ago. The forgotten history of America's worst racial massacre. Hundreds of so-called black citizens, were killed in Elaine, Arkansas, a century ago this week. All right, this article, it upset me, man. It should upset any and everybody that reads this article, man. All right, it just shows you the disdain or the disgust that so-called white people have for you, so-called blacks, man. All right, over something that we basically, as so-called black people, work for. All right, worked for, built up. Okay. All right, I'm gonna just go into it right quick, and may take me a minute to read this, or you can go to the New York Times and read this yourself. All right, it's called the Forgotten History of America's Worst Racial Massacre. All right, 100 years ago this week, one of the worst episodes of racial violence in American history, unfolded in Elaine, Arkansas. A small town in the Mississippi Delta remains difficult to verify. Details remain difficult to verify. The perpetrator suppressed coverage of the events, and the victims, terrified black families, had no one to turn to for help. In fact, local police were complicit in the killing of untold numbers of African Americans. The Elaine massacre was one of the worst instances of racial violence in American history, and it took place in a region the Delta defined itself by its violence and oppression. All right, down there in Mississippi, man. All right, Mississippi area. All right, and Arkansas. All right, that's where the Delta is, in the Mississippi and Arkansas area. One African American, William Pickens, described the Mississippi Delta as the American Congo. All right, because there was a jungle down there, I'm assuming, right? Elaine, though an isolated plantation region, was part of the broader social upheaval following World War II that came in the form of massive strikes and racial confrontations, both at home and abroad. Let me see. I just want to get to the meat, man. All right, the town was the center of a rapidly changing lumber and plantation economy known for harsh working conditions. Sharecroppers worked the land for a small share of the crop and were forced to sell their cotton to the landowners, who paid less than market price. Workers also had to buy food, clothing, household wares, tools, seeds, and fertilizer for the plantation commissary, which charged exorbitant interest rates. It was a system intended to keep black people in debt, all right, and dependent upon the planters. Just like we are in debt today, man, and dependent upon Esau's system, man. All right, there's scripture saying that we're supposed to go to our enemy for the one of all things, all right, in Deuteronomy. Matter of fact, I'm gonna just go ahead and get it, man. It's part of curses, all right. All right, right here. Deuteronomy 28 and 48. Thou shalt serve thine enemies with which the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai shall send thee against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he hath destroyed thee. All right. We're going to get into how so-called black individuals were destroyed down here. All right. Um, legal disfranchisement stripped them of the vote and an ability to share any benefits of citizenship. So they wasn't even citizens down there. All right. All right. So this is just talking about how the labor shortages were created because most blacks went in to join the military or northern factories. All right. Consequently, plantation owners and lumber mills had to pay higher wages to have cotton picked and timber milled. So since those individuals left to go join the military or work in northern factories, the cotton plantation owners had to pay higher wages. Even worse, from the planters' perspective, the much more feared radical industrial workers of the world, or wobblies, were rumored to be organized in the fields and mills. All right, so the heroism of black soldiers in the war enhanced the struggle of black freedom, causing industrialists and plantation owners to embrace themselves to the return of black veterans. All right, so those individuals coming back put the fear in those plantation owners and those industrialists because they knew they were going to have to deal with some not nonsense. They knew they were going to have to deal with some type of confrontation, Slovakia. All right, as racialized violence spread through the northern and southern cities during the Red Summer of 1919, Delta planters were paying close attention. The violence occurred not only in more familiar urban centers of Chicago and Washington, but also in the hinterlands of Omaha, so on and so forth, all those countries, cities, and states. All right, here we go. This is the meat right here. This is why you should not be joining hand in hand with Esau Edom, the devil, so-called white man. All right, late in the evening of September 30th, black sharecropper families gathered in the Hoopspur Church near Elaine. They came to discuss membership in an organization called the Progressive Farmers and Household Union, which would help them secure a price for the cotton they picked and to buy land. They aimed to hire a lawyer to represent them with the landlords. The 1919 cotton crop was the most profitable in history, and they stood to make a good amount of money. Okay, all right. At 11 p.m., a band of white men shot into the church. Black guards returned fire, killing a white agent of the Missouri Pacific Railroad News. Of the Missouri Pacific Railroad. News of the shooting quickly reached the county seat of Helena. Soon word spread that blacks were attacking whites in Elaine. So there you go. They got it mixed up. Of course, you know, those individuals that are in the news, they can control the narrative. Okay. So they're going to push their what they want, okay? All right, what they want, and they controlling the narrative. By early morning, October 1st, the sheriff sent white veterans from the American Legion post to suppress what he demanded as an insurrection. All right. Calls went out to the governor for federal troops. Telephone lines to Elaine were cut throughout the day. At least 1,000 so-called white vigilantes came from all over the state and from Mississippi to join the plantation owners. So they called up a mob of so-called white people, man. All right, to come get you, so-called Negroes. All right, for something that they started. All right, it was effectively an invasion by ends day. Countless black women men and children had been slaughtered. All right. The following morning, Governor Charles H. Burrow of Arkansas and World War II veteran Colonel Isaac Jenkins Jinx, all right, Jennings personally escorted 583 soldiers, including a machine gun battalion, from Camp Pike in Little Rock, the state capital, to Elaine. Colonel Jenkins sent all of the white women and children to Hanover by train, ordered the immediate disarmament of everyone, and authorized the killing of black insurgents. All right, these people weren't insurgents, man. They lived there. All right. So for the next 5 days, that colonel and his troops assisted by vigilantes, hunted black people for over a 200-mile radius. All right, for over 200 and a 200-mile radius, they hunted and killed black people. They scorched and burned homes with families inside, slaughtered and tortured others. The troops were aided by 7 machine guns, so they were just down there just shooting Jake up, man. All right. So on the 7th, he withdrew his troops, basically. All right. On the 31st, a grand jury indicted 122 black men and women for offenses ranging from murder to night riding. All right. A jury convicted 12 men in the murders of 3 white men. All right. Of 12 so-called black men and the murders of 3 white men. All right. This is just sickening, man. All right. The official narrative presented a picture that odds with reality, according to several accounts from white witnesses. Both vigilantes and troops committed acts of barbarianism. A local school teacher saw 28 black people killed, their bodies thrown into a pit and burned, and 16 so-called African Americans, killed and their bodies hang from a bridge outside of Helena. All right, and you can just keep on going, man, and all the grotesque and barbaric stuff that they did to us, so-called black people. All right, back in the day. All right, this is sickening, man. These Edomites should not be your friends, man. You should not be joining hand in hand with the dang enemy, man. All right. You can go into this more. I'm gonna read into some more of this, Lord willing. All right. I'm gonna just go do just like a little research on it and see what else they actually have hidden and done up, man. All right. So with that one said, call Layim La, Yahweh Bashim Al Shai Bashim Kakradash. I want to give double honor to the apostles of GMS who rule and teach well. Shalom to all you brothers and sisters that's out there doing this work in all honesty and sincerity. Kwam Yasharala and the Ball.